Hello everyone, my name is Boris, bringing you another VOD review. Today we'll be hopping in game with Kiyoon, who is known to play quite interesting lines, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but whenever it does, it usually makes for great content and definitely something to learn from. We are playing in the Baron encounter and starting off here with the Briar and the Kiyoon pair, and with the glove drop, definitely something we would consider playing into, as the comp is very strong in the current meta. However, due to its popularity, you have to watch out for it being contested. Now, we also have managed to pick up an RA, which is another great early game unit. Could consider playing around it. But for now, we're going to opt to play around the Slayers. And we also gonna, it seems, we're opt to make 10, which is interesting. In general, in metas, you would wish to not make 10 and play for the strongest board here. However, since we saw that we got the Briar 2, we are considering this to be our strongest board, and why not make 10? Get that little econ lead. And we have an IE, which is not the greatest of the slams right now, but perhaps we could slam it for tempo. On the augment selection, we have the makeshift armor, which generally is going to scale with the number of units you have, and it's something I would believe better to be as a 3-2 augment if you know it's going to be a little less of an item game, and you're playing comp that is going to run multiple melee, more of a tanky units, frontline units. Treasure hunt, not the greatest of the augments due to the econs rerolls having to be spent. You have to spend gold on them, and seems a little undertuned. Bringer of Ruin. We have not unlocked the Blanc, which would require us to be another turn away around, and part of the value is getting something like a Briar 2, which we have not gotten right away. So I would assume we're going to see if we can reroll all 3 of these. Aura farming, again, a little later on the tempo side, and you can get screwed by the 5 cost you get. Birthday Reunion, another weaker augment on the side, could give us tempo from a 2-star 2 cost, however we do have a clear direction right now, and not that many 2 costs are going to scale off from a pure IE slam. However, that would be the default I would be taking now and considering rerolling that. Yeah, we're gonna do that, and pick a Feeder of Flames, which is very good augment playing into the Slayer line, providing that little bit of extra on the vamp and the early game tempo through an item. Now we are fighting quite strong board with a 2-trick. Would we be considering slamming the IE? I would assume if we are playing in the Slayer line, we are most likely not to. However, due to the upgrades and having leveled and the exert form of an augment, we do have quite strong board. Also managed to pick up the Kiyoon upgrade. Now definitely quite strong board we have already. And we're still able to make 10 due to the extra econ we made right away. Now, going to slam on Sion here, I assume? Yeah, we're going to slam on Sion here to unlock the LeBlanc. He opted to also slot in the Bruisers in order to provide us with a little bit extra of HP, effective HP, very strong in early game. Now with the LeBlanc unlocked, we could also consider leveling to 5 and getting the 5 units in. With the Noxus going to probably hold on to the Laui for this. Now playing around to play with the strongest board, I would assume the 3 Noxus board is the strongest one at the moment. Now scouting around, there's a Warpath player with a Yasuo. Seems to be another player at least playing into Slayers. So we'll have to see if we are quite contested. Generally being 2-way contested could be quite fine, especially if you're running in from like a winstreak spot and have the econ advantage. Now, there is another open Void player, and we have not gotten Void in yet, therefore we would have to be also considering alternating front lines than just a Rift Herald. And since we opt to pick up a Rhodes, this signals to me that we might be considering playing into something else. Especially if you opt to slam the JG here with the LeBlanc pair that we've picked up, we could consider playing into some form of the Invoker board. Also have a Milio that we can consider playing around. We're going to play around this. This is the great thing of picking an augment that is wide open. When you have a strong potential early game, you still manage to streak and can leave your options open. As being uncontested, it just makes your gold worth, like your gold efficiency being a lot stronger. We opted also to sell the Rek'Sai. That means you're probably not playing around the Rift Herald. I'm going to be considering something else. He is Shadow Isles player. There's one area I have 100% going for the Slayer's form. Now we have also a player with aura forming Shyvana and the Last Whisper. Now this player holding, we see that they're holding the Bilgewater units on the bench, particularly Gangplank, which might signal that they also might be considering playing the Slayers. Therefore, we have opted to slam the JG and going to look to play around Invoker Core, most likely. Do get a full Jarvan too, but we're just going to opt to sell it right away. Give us possibility to play around something like some form of a high roll Silas, but we'll see. Now we also managed to pick up Ixtal quite in the shop and coming onto this quest. Now reroll and buy for 20 XP. These would be something that we would want to complete right now. We are a little bit on the broker side, therefore these would nuke our recall. Now, if we're able to complete this alternating 4 quest, our spot is very good. This is why one should not be afraid to attack in Ixtal when you are playing from winstreak. You can now leverage that HP you've saved to even stack up more resources, and in these tight high elo lobbies, any kind of extra resource advantage you can gain definitely gives you an edge over the competition when the margins are so tight. Therefore, yeah, Kiyoon's just gonna go for being the alternate 4 quest. Takes a little bit of finesse. Now, the interesting thing to note about this quest is that the alternating does not mean that you necessarily always have to win and lose. From game's perspective, what counts is that you flip your streak. Now, for example, if we are unsure that we're going to win the next combat, we could tack Ixtal out and then try to win without Ixtal and then lose again. And that would still count. You just have to remember to take Ixtal in and out, as the game is only concerned about your streak being flipped while the Ixtal is in. However, we picked up the rolling for days here. Generally, I wish to have another econ option. Since this immediately enables us to roll down, we are able to hit LeBlanc 2 quite soon, and we can see Kiyoon being quite happy as we high rolled our matchmaking, fighting into a weaker player. Now with the LeBlanc 2, we definitely should be able to complete this quest on this stage, as we are able to then just bench her for the next turn, sack the combat fully to guarantee the loss. And yeah, this is great as we also fight the weakest player in the lobby right now. Now, are we going to risk it by keeping the LeBlanc in? There are definitely quite some strong boards onto the field, but yeah, we're just going to take her out, secure this loss. And yeah, we can see that there seems to be at least 2 players playing for the Slayer board. Therefore, definitely good read to keep your options open and pivot into an uncontested line. This is how you climb, this is how you gain your free placements. Especially if you're able to continue playing strongest board in that sort of fashion. Now on the carousel, you'll probably be looking for some kind of either AP or mana generating item. Could also go for a tier to complete Void Staff, although it is on a 1 cost, therefore just going to attack in a belt. Definitely going to use quite a few belts. We can also play this around. This belt going to help us not only make an Asher's, which is going to synergize greatly with this JG. It also allows us to potentially use the extra belts and then afterwards to unlock Volibear. Going to up to level to 7 here and roll down a little bit more to, unfortunately did not hit the Scion 2, but managed to pick up a Nico 2 and hope that this is going to be enough of a front line. As yeah, we definitely wanted to go for something that's going to give us here on the carousel a slam that we can immediately win here. And this works out. We also break the player's streak. Level 730 here, still very safe spot, enabled by this rolling for days, which is great. Now we have 280. Now reroll shop 11 times is going to cost us quite a lot of gold. Full bench at the end of combat for 4 rounds. Again, it's going to cost us gold. However, this is going to carry over to PV, so this would be a safe option. However, I believe we could just go for lose 3 player combats in a row and then look to spike on maybe 4-5, as we are still 80 HP. We're quite healthy, but we would have to manage these losses quite well. But then we would be already at 480 shards and like about 170 shards away from the 650 cash out, which is the cash out that you will probably go to win. And yeah, we're going to lose 3 player combats. Going to opt to remove their items just to secure the win, as yeah, we do queue into or a farming Gangplank 1 carry. Definitely I believe we would have won this fight with the items equipped. But now, LeBlanc 2 hopefully is going to be able to kill us some units. Unfortunately not, we do take a full loss. Now this is the scary bit, as the damage is going to be ramping up. And this is the quest where we do need to lose them in a row. Now going into the stage 4, probably everyone's going to be playing quite sufficient boards. That as long as we keep the items off the LeBlanc, we should be completely fine. Do get most likely which is going to become a Steadfast and perhaps a Shojin, or I'm not the biggest fan of backline Hodge, however some people are. I would assume we're gonna make a Steadfast here after once we start to win. Or could also consider going an IE. We're going to unlock a Brock, so IE is definitely one of his better items. Into the Kaisa player with the wall overcome. Definitely a Bogman that got a little bit better once they introduced the change where the first unit mutation is a offensive one. Onto the last augment, Little Buddies. Unfortunately an augment that hasn't been performing as well in this set due to you're generally not running that many low cost units. Best Friends would be something good in the AD lobby, which now with Slayers in the meta it is becoming more popular. However, if we are hoping to plan around the Freljord core with the Volibear eventually, this is going to grief our positioning. So would Exiles. However, Exiles would be the strongest combat option right away, and it is fine to generally, with the Exiles, sack the Freljord statue on some of your units. Precision of Grace, something particularly great in this, again, reroll, Slayer comp. And yeah, we can also take Exiles and do this neat ring here where we just sack them right away, ensuring that the loss. Interesting play done here, perhaps on a riskier side, but we are scouting our pool, and I'm not sure if we keep the items off, are we scared of anyone really? Into the queuing into Yasuo 3, I would assume that this is a quite tight one. Now the LeBlanc 2 is extremely powerful, but we opt to take almost a perfect loss here. Now well recognized that he could slam these couple of items, get the Shred online, get the anti-heal online, and take a very good loss. This is why the top players are so high on this Ixtal line, that they're able to navigate spots perfectly like this. Forming up for the last quest, have no items on bench for 3 rounds, could do that. Now, we would want to be able to roll to stabilize our board, therefore earn interest is not going to work out as well. Starting combat with 0 gold again is something good, but just having no items on your bench at the moment, if we slam a Steadfast, then we can just float the Rod and the Tier, or we can just opt to slam a Shojin for our duo carry. Therefore I believe that would be the easiest one to complete. Now let's see what Kiyoon, he opts to go for having 16 interest. Now losing 3 is going to put us quite low on the gold department. Also, I do think we'd want to save this chain for a potential gargoyles to unlock the Skarner. Now, checking out the cash tables, yeah, we could also use this moment to pass. 625 is generally the mark we're going to aim for these cash outs to win. Double Fawn, immediate spike with a Radiant item on your team. 70 gold was bounce the gold back that you are investing into anything, and triple item with triple Radiant again. Once you have that Brock online, it's going to be extremely strong. 700 is where you can definitely start winning, which should be able to stabilize on your 1 turn already without that many actions to take place. I would assume we might want to secure a cloak here for our Skarner, and yes, that's what we're going to do. Now, question is here, are we going to try to play for some form of a fast 9, as we are stacking up this interest and we're hoping that we're probably going to hit some form of a buy XP quest. And the buy XP quest in this stage, if I'm not mistaken, is 80 XP. That would overlevel you quite considerably. This is going to be an interesting play. Also, by having the items on the Briar, we're able to unlock Skarner very next turn. And if we take a couple of losses here, we're definitely going to be down to a single life. into the Seraphine-less board. Unfortunately not able to kill anything as they just have, with the savings accounts and Fire Sale, have had so much econ that they're able to just fully hit their board. But now I believe this to be a slight mistake unless we are looking to roll down this turn. Alright. Now we only need to generate a single interest this turn, as it was 16. It's definitely a slower quest, and I'm not sure if that was the best option that we could have picked. But he has opted now to go for this and try to secure a win. And unfortunately, we lose here. Now, if he had opted to sack here, and now if we get an buy XP quest, we could have considered going 9 and just cashing out. And yeah, we're still a single interest off, so I'm not sure if these were definitely the best plays, but now we have put ourselves in a quite considerably hard spot. Let's see how we manage to navigate it. Able to complete a TG that's going to give us at least some form of Brock items. Now, double rods, could opt to the forge one or just go for a death cap. Going to cash out here the 600, unfortunately going to 625. However, yeah, now we hope to push level 9. Able to pick up a Zero, able to pick up also some Fiddle, Shivanas. Oh, high roll this Brock too. Now this should able to stabilize us. The extra goal that we got with the Radiant TG immediately giving Brock some form of oomph power. This should give us definitely a way to stabilize our board, and which is all enabled by the level 9 XP cost being reduced. And with the bulky frontline, the Zillion is able to go to the work. Opting to choose the reroll your shop 20 times, but however at this point we're just probably looking to go for a smaller cash out. Able to pick up a Seraphine that's going to give us Continuum cogs on our team. Going to value the Seraphine higher than the Zillion since we are no longer running a Milio. Going to tuck in nicely, get the Disruptor on the whole team, and we're definitely going to be chasing these backline upgrades now in order to support this Brock, as some Radiant EG drops could potentially grief us. Also, I'll be able to unlock a Renekton that we could slot over here over Tarek maybe, or over Fiddlesticks. Going to go for a ballsy Reforge. Now, Stoneblade generally not the greatest of an item in the later game. However, we do get the run redundancy in the anti-heal department. Going to slam the IE for now on the Renekton, as we might consider later on to transition this if you're able to pick up some more items onto the Brock. Now, very risky plays taken, and if we sit here as a spectator, it's obviously quite easier for us to consider these plays, as once you're in game you just have so many decisions, so many things to account for, that you can't always be super aware. But we're able to nicely pick up Shred here to get the Shred on the Brock, for the Brock, and also RTG now roll Shred. Able to pick up a Renekton too. Now, another neat thing to note here is that his exiles is not being griefed by these statues. You can position these statues freely, and your exiles, as you can see, are being applied to the units, which is quite neat. Our Brock TG rolls have been quite good, definitely has allowed us to stabilize even further, but we are going to be playing, it seems, this whole game from 1 life, as we did not hold on to 5 Ixtal. And with the stabilization, we have managed to get ourselves quite close to the top 4. The Lustrik player on 4 HP at the moment, in the hopes that we could knock them out. Now, yeah, here we see a single Slayer player. Now, a neat thing again, that the Brock has positioned 1 row away. It was able to hit the Ambessa at the start, however Ambessa dashes away, but with the Brock damage we're able to do it, and this 1-star Seraphine doing quite considerable amount of damage, providing the Disruptor able to slow the Slayers down, and we have managed to secure a top 4, as another player took quite a big loss, it seems. Going up here, going to probably just send it, yeah, for the upgrades. Able to pick up a 2-star Shyvana, can transition the TG to her. Definitely the roll the TG is way better. Able to also pick up a Hodge, which is now going to nicely be able to transition to Brock. Just going to toss a Shojin on him, as Seraphine is going to, well, at least benefits in some form from this Morello a little bit better due to the AP it gives, even though it's redundancy and anti-heal. And our gets our Brock to a cast faster, which just provides extra bit of damage. Again, yeah, this player also opted to play for Slayers, but we're able to take him down, and now we're on a 2v2, and now the encounter everyone constantly forgets about pops in. We're able to make the level 10, just going to pick up another Brock and toss him on the board. Can't be that bad. Interestingly, we opt to value the single star Brock higher than the 2-star Renekton. Therefore going to toss it in. And the last fight against a Slayer player, we have reached a critical mass and they do not stand a chance. Definitely a very interesting game played by Kiyoon here. Managing to pilot his quest mostly well. A little bit of a hiccup there in the end, but being able to stabilize quite well, find an early Brock 2. And manages to win out the game from that spot, all enabled by recognition that we are going to be contested. Therefore, we need to look for other outs possible. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something new, just like I did. And I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.